Hello and welcome to Group 6's presentation on proxy servers. Group 6 is Harlan Hobbs, Nicholas Palmer, Adam Edwards, and Myron Judkins. Proxy servers are used in several different configurations and have various benefits and even a few drawbacks. In the model you're seeing here, the proxy server is inside the firewalled network. It may be used to block or filter websites and content. It may monitor outgoing traffic to see if somebody's sending out information they should not be sending out of the network. This configuration allows for a level of privacy for the clients because all clients go through the proxy server. This proxy server may also cache web materials, making most previously viewed web pages open much quicker than they normally would, as they don't have to grab all the information off the internet. As a reverse proxy server, this configuration may allow many servers on a single website or IP address, caching the most frequently used files, and it may even be set up to help block some kinds of attacks. Caching files may be a problem when files change, especially if there's time-sensitive updates, as the cache may delay the new information from going out or coming in for minutes, hours, even in some cases, days to get the new information, depending on how often it updates. Another option is using a web-based proxy server. But the problems here, or good things here, is because it might allow you to bypass filters, rules, and protections. In this configuration, the school's PC is blocked from Facebook, but it has full access to the proxy server, so the proxy server then accesses the Facebook content and passes it back to the school PC. Proxy servers like this may even be found as a free service. However, remember that every time you enter a password, it has to be readable to the proxy service to pass it on. Every time you enter a login, logins, passwords, all this information is going through that proxy server. Are you really willing to trust your private information and passwords to a free service? You might want to look at one of the paid ones if you're really wanting to learn this service.
In order to implement this proxy server with whitelisting capabilities, we are going to be using Squid. Squid is free and open source software that started as a fork of the Harvest Cache daemon developed in the 1990s, which turned into a commercial product. But the developers of Squid wanted to make sure it stayed free and open source. Squid's main function is that of an HTTP cache for internet service providers. Currently, Squid only has full functionality to support HTTP 1.0. However, the developers are excited that they believe they will soon be able to have a full implementation of HTTP 1.1 functionality, thus making it more available for all sorts of internet websites. In order to use Squid as a whitelisting program, it has to be downloaded onto a proxy server. After downloading and installing it onto the proxy server, you go into the configuration files through the terminal and make changes to the whitelist area. You can add or take away IP addresses or domain names, depending on whether or not you've already had it set up as a proxy, as a whitelisting program. And then once you're done, you refresh the program and it should work as a fully functional whitelisting program on a proxy server.
So I'm going to show how to set up and install Squid. So the first command we're going to do is sudo apt-get install Squid 3 is the version that we used. Now, after I enter my password, this is going to error out because I've already installed it, just because it does take a little bit. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to go in and look at the configuration options. And so we're going to go ahead and continue here. And let me make this full screen. So within this, we have all of our options. So there are a ton, and it does some basic explanation of what things are, how they do, or what things are and what they do, how to use them. And so these, if you're not very familiar with Linux, these comment out lines. And so to allow something, you'll uncomment it. We used a guide on the internet. I'll put a link for that in the description as it goes into a bit more detail than I have time to. And from this, once it's set up, you would configure your internet to point to your Squid server.
While proxy servers add a level of security, they are not foolproof. There are a number of proxy server attacks that may make the proxy less secure. Non-proxy aware applications are sometimes incompatible with proxy servers. To allow these programs to function, some corporate networks let them be formulated from the desktop. This can allow attackers to bypass proxy server defenses. Obscuring routers, such as using the hexadecimal representation of ASCII instead of normal view, may be used to allow users to reach content that would have usually been filtered. Different proxies may be bypassed using different obscuring routines. An attacker may bypass a proxy server's content blocks by entering a more lax proxy server. The restraints are then governed by the second proxy. Finally, if an attacker controls the client and the server, the attacker may use a different TCP port or use other tools that tunnel data if he wants to steal outbound data. Though generally good for security, proxy servers have some disadvantages. For example, the cache system of proxy servers means that sensitive data, like passwords or personal identification, may be viewed by the proxy service provider. This means that you should only use proxy servers that you trust. TLS and SSL encrypted connections may be used to leak your data. Additionally, a proxy server may be used in places like high schools. This can allow students to access content that would normally be blocked. This is less a disadvantage of having an approved proxy server and more a risk of undesired proxy servers being used.